Hey everybody, this is the roundup for every Green Lantern thing that was either released or announced in the month of August 2021, and we're starting with Green Lantern number 5. This issue reinforced something for me about the current series, and it's one of my favorite things about this book. The fact that I can't always easily predict what's going to happen. When you spend your life consuming this type of media, you get pretty good at calling plot twists and knowing where the story is heading, because so much entertainment uses the same shorthand and follows the same template. But with the current Green Lantern series, writer Geoffrey Thorne seems to be actively using that knowledge against us. He presents us with information knowing how we'll react to it, only to subvert all of our expectations as the story moves forward. I have a lot of respect for the desire to preserve the element of surprise in your story, and honestly I'm finding this whole thing to be an incredible amount of fun to think about, as all of my best guesses about the plot could be spot on or way off, depending on whether or not I'm making a particular assumption and thus falling for Thorne's trap. I mean, seriously, this is a story sold on the idea that the central battery gets destroyed, only for it to turn out that the central battery actually wasn't destroyed. And also, this may or may not secretly be a story about time travel. It's crazy and I love it. And the sad part is that a lot of readers won't make it far enough into the series to even know any of this, because the first few issues lean into the misdirect, and your enjoyment of the book will largely rely on you wanting to explore those concepts as if they were genuine. I wouldn't blame anyone for skipping or dropping the book because of what they thought the series was doing, but I do hope that once the answers begin to be revealed, some of those people will come back and give it another shot. And as usual, I popped in on the LanternCast to talk about the latest issue, so go listen to episode 447. Justice League Last Ride number 4 continues to be a compelling, tense powder keg of hard feelings waiting to explode, as the story ratchets up the danger with the arrival of a pair of Superman villains who, as far as I'm concerned, are actually Green Lantern villains, no matter what DC has to say about it. While that's going on, the story more or less seems to confirm that Hal absorbed the central battery to keep it away from Darkseid, and I can only imagine Hal after the fact trying to justify doing an Emerald Twilight for the greater good to a Corps full of ex-Lanterns who now hate him. But I guess we'll find out the details as the story heads into its final couple of issues. Wonder Woman number 777 sees Diana lost in the multiverse, ending up on Earth 11 where gender roles are reversed, and teaming up with that world's Justice Guild, including Star Sapphire Carol Jordan, who we last saw in the pages of Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp's run on The Green Lantern. I don't really know what's going on in Wonder Woman right now, but she seems to be on some kind of journey with a talking squirrel, and we all know that only the best books have talking squirrels, so maybe I'll catch up with this one when it's out in trade. A book I'm definitely looking forward to getting back into is The Flash. Issue 773 has a very tacked-on Lantern connection. Something is coming from outer space to menace the Flash, so they threw in a page of Jessica Cruz and Slush trying to stop it, hoping to entice you so you'll pick up the Green Lantern Annual to see more of Jessica as a member of the Sinestro Corps. I don't know that I'd expect any more Lanterns in this Flash story, but I'd still read it anyway, since The Flash is a Wally West book again. Wally is back to being the star of the book, he's got his classic costume back, he's got his family back. It's the Wally book fans have been wanting for a very, very long time. This started with issue 768, so there's 6 months of new Wally West Flash comics waiting for you if you haven't jumped back in already. Infinite Frontier is racing to a close with issues 4 and 5. This series is weird because it's given us a lot more Lantern stuff than I ever expected, but the significance of that Lantern stuff appearing hinges on reveals that still haven't fully happened yet, which means there really isn't much to say about any of it other than just running down a list of characters who've shown up. And I don't think there's much point to doing that outside of the larger context of the rest of the story. For example, I can tell you that there's a version of the Joker that's in the Sinestro Corps. What Earth is he from, and what does it matter that he's in this story? I don't know, but he exists. And that's basically the vibe of this whole miniseries. There's one more issue to go, and then we'll talk in depth about the highs and lows of this entire story, as well as its heavy use of the Green Lantern mythos, so check back in a couple weeks when that video comes out. Over in the ever-expanding world of Funko Pops, it seems we're getting Wonder Woman as a White Lantern as well as a member of the Sinestro Corps. 2 roles she did in fact have in the comics, though both were very brief. It's really surprising just how many Wonder Woman Lantern Pops there are. This makes 5 unless I'm missing some, and one of them was already a White Lantern. Thanks to the LanternCast for finding this one. Well, it finally happened. We finally have a Green Lantern as a part of the cast of a live-action DC TV show. Jenny-Lynne Hayden, the daughter of Alan Scott, made her debut in the second season of the CW's Stargirl, played by Ysa Penarejo. So far, they're doing a good job of giving us a new interpretation of the character, while heavily rooting everything about her in the lore of the comics. Some things are direct pulls, like having the group home she grew up in be located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and naming it after Jerry Ordway, the artist who co-created her. As for her powers, the show already confirmed that she does have internal powers, and it looks like they were jump-started by holding her dad's ring. She seems to be able to use the ring to focus her own power, so what we'll probably see is Alan's ring being a tool to teach Jade how to use her natural powers, and maybe by the end of the season, she won't need the ring anymore, especially after what happened with Alan's battery in episode 2. So far, I'm happy, and I can't wait to see more. Speaking of Green Lantern on TV, Finn Wittrock, who's playing Guy Gardner in the HBO Max show, talked briefly about the production, and while he didn't say much that we didn't already know, he does have an interesting perspective on this new series' relationship with the Ryan Reynolds movie, saying that the failure of that movie could ultimately be a good thing, since it allows this new show the freedom to find its own path without having to be beholden to a beloved film, which, okay, I guess. At this point, I've had enough of people talking around this show, and I don't think there's any value in having one of the actors tell us about how it's, quote, not your average superhero story. Maybe the arrival of Jade on Stargirl has made me more impatient for the rest of Green Lantern TV to catch up. Either way, if they want me to care about news surrounding the HBO Max series at this point, it's gotta be something substantial. Casting confirmation, a release window, something like that. Maybe they're saving the good stuff for the DC fandom in October. Now let's talk about upcoming comics. Green Lantern 2021 Annual Number 1 was pushed back to September 7th, the same day as Green Lantern Number 6, though it's unknown at the time of this recording if both of those issues will end up keeping that release date. Green Lantern number 8 comes out November 2nd, Justice League Last Ride number 7 comes out November 9th, and the first trade of the current Green Lantern series, titled Green Lantern Volume 1 Invictus, comes out December 21st, just in time for the holidays. We've also got Suicide Squad number 9 out on November 2nd. The squad breaks into a vault on Oa to get something that will help them wage war against Earth-3. Based on the cover, it looks like they get into a fight with Kelly Quintella, the Teen Lantern, since that's her gauntlet. But speaking of gauntlets, Green Lantern number 1 confirms that Krona's gauntlet is locked in a vault on Oa, and is an immensely powerful weapon, so my guess is that's what the squad is after. And since they're going to fight Earth-3, maybe we'll see someone use Krona's gauntlet against the new Emerald Knight. And to close the month out, we got a nice surprise from Daryl Banks, co-creator of Kyle Rayner. He's doing a variant cover for the 7th issue of The Joker, coming out September 14th, and it's an homage to his famous cover to Green Lantern number 49. The variant is exclusive to State of Comics and are in limited supply, so if they're still available when you watch this, go get one quickly. I'll link to the store in the description down below. So that's the Green Lantern Roundup for August of 2021. If you have something to say about any of these topics, or if there's anything you think I missed, let's keep the conversation going in the comment section down below. You can usually find me reacting to these developments in real time on Twitter, and I'll be back doing another one of these videos a month from now. So subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you're notified when that video drops. Until then, thank you for taking the time to watch. My name is Dan. We'll talk again soon.